Welcome back to the channel, friends. It's Mr. Davo, and today we're going to look for a final time at the awesome photography case that I designed and built, and I've now taken it out on the road. Now, some aspects are better than I hoped for, some not so much, but it was all fixable. So without further delay, let's jump in and take a look. One thing that I really didn't fully understand as I was designing this was the physical size of the case. It's not a small case, it's a big case. Now I've got a lot of equipment, so that makes sense. I didn't want a small case that limited me, but it's a big case. During the process of building this and as I got close to finishing it, I thankfully sold the car that I had, got a new vehicle which is bigger. I think I would have really struggled using this in the car that I had. Now I've got a small half-size SUV, and I think it makes a whole lot more sense. That said, it really is quite a tight fit. The most important thing to me was having all the gear in one place. I didn't want several boxes and bags and having to sort through things, try to find things, and also having all the equipment, particularly the lenses, really well protected is really important. I'm sometimes going on rough roads and places where damage to the lenses really could be quite a real thing, and I no longer have that concern. But not everything was perfect. There were some surprises, some things that I had to contend with. Some I was able to deal with kind of while I was out there. Others are things that I had to come back home, think about a solution to, and find a workaround, if you will. One thing that I had planned on and worked out well was this thin red cable. You can see I latched it to the SUV itself and then also locked it to the case on the left-hand side. Certainly someone could defeat this, but there's effort involved and time involved, and that's what I aim to prevent. You'll see that I've placed some felt pads here, placed them in a few different places where things would otherwise rattle around and create noise while I drove, which drove me crazy, and this seems to have largely resolved it. Something I totally could not have anticipated was the fit in the actual vehicle. The case was mostly finished, and then I bought the vehicle, brought it out to the car, tried to put it in and realized it just barely fit. That's something that if you were trying to build this case and hadn't anticipated this, you'd want to put a little bit of research into it because that could be a sticking point. Something I didn't anticipate at all is that the bottom of the case is largely a smooth, very smooth surface that sits now on the carpeted interior of the back of my vehicle. And when I go around corners, the case actually slides around. Now, it's not banging around, it's not sliding a lot. It's actually only a little bit that it slides, but here's the problem. When I go to raise up that lid again, the lid will now hit on one side of the fabric of the roof of the car. And so now I'm constantly, every time I go out, open the lid up, first I have to kind of start opening it up, readjust everything to center the case on the car, and then lift the lid up. And that became a complete headache. So what I did was I purchased a pack of these on Amazon. Now they're self-adhesive. There's an adhesive layer on the back here, and then it's thick foam on the front, and it's very rubberized. And I put 6 of these underneath the case, adhering them to the bottom, and believe me, that case goes nowhere. I could take a corner at any speed. That case is not going to budge, and that's exactly what I need. It stays put. So my lenses are protected, my gear's protected, it's all available when and where I need it. This really was a project I'm proud to have put together, thought through well, executed well, and then troubleshot things as they came along. And in the end, I'm really pleased with the result. One thing I learned though over the last couple of weeks, not related to the case really, but you can try all you want to keep your gear protected while you're driving around, but then you have to take the gear out and use it. And a couple of weeks ago, I was out on the top of a hill in a very, very windy storm. And even though my camera was weighted down, even though I did all the precautionary things I usually do, the wind took over one of my cameras and my Rokinon 24mm lens straight down into the rocks. And yeah, there's a really nice scratch on the surface of it. Now, I'm gonna make a separate video about how important is this scratch really. I think you'll be interested and probably surprised by the results. Camera wasn't damaged because the lens took the brunt of it, but I'll make a separate video on that. Again, all in all, really pleased with this build. Thank you for coming along in this journey. If you've looked at all 4 of the videos, if you haven't, certainly rewind, go back to the previous 3. You can see how I planned it, how I built it, where I got the pieces from, etc. Fun little project. Again, thanks for joining me. As always, if you like my videos, hit the like button, certainly subscribe, and smash the bell if you want to get notifications when new content is available. Thanks for watching, friends. Be safe, be kind.